Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios, it's time for Women in Motion. Brought to you by WBEC West. Join forces, succeed together. Now, here's your host.
Lee Kantor here, another episode of Women in Motion, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, WeBec West. Without them, we couldn't be sharing these important stories. Today on Women in Motion, we have Karen Kelly, who is the owner, managing partner with K2 Ultimate Incentives. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Lee. I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And I appreciate this opportunity just to share more about K2 Ultimate Incentives.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us about K2 Ultimate Incentives. How are you serving folks?
Sure. So K2 Ultimate Incentives has really been focused in enhancing employee engagement and motivation through incentive programs. They are meticulously crafted and aligned with the company or the customer that we're in front of, the company goals or their individual aspirations. We offer a diverse range of rewards and recognition strategies so that we can empower organizations to achieve their objectives through innovative and comprehensive incentive solutions.
Now, are these kind of incentive programs only for the larger organizations, or can smaller organizations take advantage of them as well?
That's a great question. Incentives, what I always say to people is to keep in mind the purpose of incentives, and it's really to stimulate a greater output. It's incentivized to change behaviors. So incentives are going to be beneficial for organizations of all sizes, not just small or not just large. While larger companies may have more resources to allocate or more complexities, smaller organizations definitely can implement effective incentive strategies that can be tailored to their needs and their budgets as well.
Now, do you mind if we get a little granular in this and maybe explain some best practices for small business if they wanted to kind of dip their toe into this, and also what it would look like for larger enterprise organizations?
Yes, of course. I think the foundation of building an incentive program really remains similar in all, whether you're small or a large enterprise. Again, the goals are to motivate and change behavior. One of the big things I always say at the beginning is this takes a team. Like, look at who's involved. Maybe your legal team, the accounting team, HR, department leads, IT employees, and obviously anything with compliance, because every state, may have different compliance or rules on it. But specifically for small businesses, some of the best practices really are define that clear objective. Like, what is the organizational goal that you're trying to achieve? Some common goals that I always hear about, obviously, is increasing productivity. Employee retention is a big one. Just boosting morale and building that culture. Maybe participating in surveys, increasing referral programs. Again, part of that design, obviously, is budget, knowing what your budget is. What's really key, too, is understanding your employees. What are their preferences? What motivates them? Because if you put a program together and the end product is not something that's going to move them or incentivize them, they may not be as involved. So you want to make sure the incentives you offer are meaningful and really will motivate the team. Set clear criteria and communicate. This is so important that everyone understands the specific goals, what they're earning, what they're, just to try to help be communicating everything with fairness and transparency. I think with a small program, and small business, and I would also encourage with enterprise, is really to test pilot, kind of have a pilot program. What I always say is, when are you already buying? Is it holiday time? Is it employee recognition? Is it healthcare week, human resources day? If you want to try a new program out, pilot it with something like this, with an organization, and to put it out to everybody and then get feedback, because then you can really refine and build a program based on the feedback of the result of what you may have just, achieved in this. And this is really more geared towards when choosing, certain platforms. And again, communicating, clearly, and just recognizing achievements regularly. That's another thing that a lot of programs designed today were kind of designed a while ago when different generations were in the market. And there are different generations now, and millennials and Gen Zs. I think I just read it, 2025 will be 60% of our workforce. And we really need to be recognizing regularly, because they grew up in a world of everything is instant gratification. And long gone are that times of maybe rewarding quarterly or yearly. It really should be more regular acknowledgement and regular, celebrations. And then really to just always evaluate and adjust. Another best practice is you can include non-monetary rewards. It doesn't have to always be something of dollar value. Maybe it's letting someone go out to work, work early, or giving them flexible work arrangements. Public recognition, there's a lot to be said about social recognition. So I think as far as a small business, those are some best practices. I think when it comes to enterprise, a lot of those are similar approaches. Obviously, there's probably more a strategic approach with enterprise because of the complexity of the business. And really where I just see maybe some differences from what I've just included are maybe enterprise has more segmented in their program, meaning segmented in their workforce. There's different departments. So distinct goals and motivations may be different in each department. So you may want to strategize a little there, but really think about the different departments. A larger enterprise, we would probably, suggest maybe doing some type of data analytics. If they already have a program, kind of see what's working, what's not. Disengaged employees is always one that comes back. But another difference that I would see between small and enterprise would probably be implementing more tiered awards, really structuring different awards for different levels. Again, obviously, communication, transparency, fairness. And here is another area where they may want to integrate technology. So they may want to be looking for something that they can do, technology integration. With both, you really should be encouraging employee feedback. I'm trying to think. Another one here too, I guess, would be definitely to promote, design your program that recognizes a diverse contribution across the organization. And what that means is, you may want to you have to ensure that everyone in this company has opportunity to reward, regardless of their role, regardless of where they're located, because enterprises are typically across the nation. So it may be something like commitment to the company values, or reward on innovation, problem solving, leadership and teamwork. So there's ways we can discuss to kind of be more creative there. It's probably some of the most differences I would say between the two.
Now, I've seen people try to do incentive programs, obviously without expert help like you, but on their own try to do a program, and then sometimes the highest performer is winning every time, and then everybody else is kind of disincentivized. How do you go about creating a program so that everyone is incentivized throughout the program, not just that first week of the program?
Right. And that is an excellent question, because it's not even so much just the first week of the program. What I also heard you say is kind of that the top performer that keeps winning over and over again. And the goal of an incentive program is really going to be to incentivize and change behaviors across your organization. Again, a goal there would be to diversify the criteria of it. It may be something like I mentioned before with, culture, or maybe it's an innovation with a teamwork, or it's, if somebody embodies the value of one of the cultures, you're going to reward them. And it's a continuous thing. You want to focus more on strengths and achievements of the individual instead of just that top, performer. Sometimes, again, what will help here is those tiered recognition programs. So you want to give different tiers, maybe a first place, second place, and a third place, allowing more employees to be recognized. Another suggestion here would be really a lot of enterprise companies, they do point systems. And so they develop points based on different goals, various achievements, so that everyone is kind of waiting on their own thing throughout the whole thing. And it's not always, the same person. The other suggestion is rotating the recognition program. It doesn't have to always be. So many of these enterprise companies have that one set, we're going to work towards this, or we're going to work towards a travel. We're going to rotate what the recognition program is. Make sure you involve the whole organization, because you will, for those that always win, or if it's not achievable, you won't get them engaged in the program.
Now, when someone is starting to work with you, maybe for the first time, or somebody's coming to you that have never done this before, can you share a little bit about what it looks like to onboard, or to explain, how to get an incentive program in place?
Sure. Frequently, we'll have someone will come to us the first time, and I want to say that their mindset is always years of service, which I think is very important. And I think it shows value and appreciation with the years of service and acknowledging it. What I do always want everyone to think about is, if you are trying to incentivize and motivate, years of service would only motivate someone to stick around or change a behavior if they're trying to hit the next level. So really what I would encourage them to do is really, again, we would sit down and we would define what it is, maybe plan a program, define objectives, what are the key metrics, and really just design the program from what they're doing, communication, initial rollout. So there's a lot more. If it's their initial time coming, there would be a lot more work in place of really just the planning process. Like I said, with communicating your initial rollout, you want to do feedback, ongoing engagement, and just really monitor and evaluate to make sure what you're doing is even working.
Now, can you share a little bit about why it was important for you to become part of the WeBeck West community?
Yes, I love this question, because it often keeps bringing me, my purpose in this is to always make a difference. And I had a customer come to me. I took over a family business that was for over 20 years my dad had ran, and I took it over and recreated it to K2 Ultimate Incentives. And when that occurred, I had a customer ask me, now that you are running the business, you are a woman, would you get your women's business certification? And I did not know anything about it at that time. So when I started researching and looking at it, I really saw the value in not only strengthening my business, strengthening and giving credibility, but it was also helping achieve my customers' goals as well.
Now, is there a success story you can share where, maybe you don't name the name of the company, but explain the problem that they had and how you helped them kind of get to a new level?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say in the most of the past few years, a lot of it is all an on-the-spot recognition. There are studies that show on the spot, meaning that they want to hand something, whether they're in the field or in the warehouse or in the office, they want to go up and acknowledge right then and there. And so they want to hand something. And oftentimes it is a physical gift card. Well, the physical gift cards now today are showing some studies that, with the CO2 emissions and all of the sustainability goals, it's not a choice that we should be choosing. So we came up with a creative solution of creating what may look like some type of physical gift card, but on something on paper that would be customizable, or an image or a message or something that they could physically handle. But I also added suppliers that can keep everything digitally in technology to where they can actually text something right then and there, send and text something, so that's still very impactful. But I think it feels good to know that the reward program didn't stop because they didn't want, they wanted to do something impactfully. And I think it feels good to know they stopped choosing physical gift cards, plastic gift cards that were not great for the environment.
And if is there a way for someone to get a hold of you and learn more and have more substantive conversation with you or somebody on the team? Do you mind sharing your website or socials or best way to connect?
Sure, absolutely. You can always reach out by LinkedIn. Look for me by Karen Kelly, or K2 Ultimate Incentives will pop up. You can email me at Karen@K2ultimateincentives.com, and that's K with the number 2, ultimateincentives.com. You can definitely visit my website, www.K2ultimateincentives.com, and all of my information is on there as well. And really what's best for them, call me, text me, email me, LinkedIn, whatever their preferred, method is, I will return and help them.
Well, Karen, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing such important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
All right, this is Lee Kantor. We'll see you all next time on Women in Motion.